And off we go. Alright, so those of you who've been following AWOL, here's introduced you to the inventory. Here I have created some bags. I have emptied my main bag and created some bags which are designated for other stuff. And my main inventory is pinned here. And I did that so that any new items will appear there, but then I can just distribute them to other bags so they don't kind of create a mess. So let's do the quest which teaches us how to craft. So here we will be crafting a weapon. We're taking this little gun here. It's put in our inventory, then we use this one. I have Ultimate Crafter add-on used. You disassemble things by putting it in the assembled spot, then you get the materials. And now you just grab a weapon kit, wherever that is. There we go, it's behind us. So grabbing the weapon kit. And now we can craft our item. Weapon kit goes here, and the items, you can just pick the whole stack of materials and then right click place them one by one. Like this. And we have a hammer. There we go, we have now assembled a hammer. Strong arm of the law. Let's see how it looks. It looks like this. I do prefer the hammer I got from Polaris Dungeon somewhat more. Right, so we have now to disassemble the broken shotgun. I thought I did that. Alright. Follow the instructions in the book to assemble a new weapon. I'm fairly sure that I have done that. I assembled the hammer, didn't I? Alright, well, let's assemble this sword and see if that will prove anything. Oh, I have probably done it in the wrong order. Sorry about that, guys. That's what happens when I'm not paying attention. So we had a hammer, now we have a sword. There we go. Now it's done. Ooh, yeah. The missions. There we go. And it looks like this. Fairly nice sword, but the stats on it are worse than the one I have. Hopefully I will be using this one shortly. I just need enough skill levels, skills to upgrade it. And you can see that here. Blade. Cancel. I don't want to upgrade this one yet. I will be upgrading both of them, but in order to have my weapon skill as high as possible, I'll be upgrading them one at a time. So I will be upgrading in one of the trees all the way up before upgrading the second one. Alright, so let's get some experience. I'm going to be claiming some items which will hopefully give me some benefits, and I'm probably need to claim it from the item store. So let's go to the item store and claim them. I have a lot of items to claim, so I'm not going to be claiming all of them, just the ones which are useful and which you get in the beginning. And the items you get in the beginning are the Screaming Ring, this one I think is Grandmaster only, so I'm not going to be grabbing that, but I will take the Temple Cat. Those are also the same items AWOL took. I will not be grabbing all of the Grandmaster pieces. If you buy Grandmaster pack, you can obviously take those, but I will only take those which are available otherwise, and the milkshake. Alright, so we can also take some items here which cosmetics if you want to do that. and I'll probably do that later on, but right now it doesn't particularly matter, as I need to keep going in order to actually. It's a pimp fur coat. I never use it, but it's really cool. Yeah, in that cool kind of way. Alright, so let's Templar Talisman. I have to need to take the Templar Talisman. There we go. Alright, so we have our hair gear. In dressing room is our items. So I just picked up a Templar Talisman. I put it on, and obviously can't see it because it's behind my t-shirt. So yeah. But let's put on the ring. As you can see, the stats are better than the one I got from Polaris, because it's a blue ring instead of being green one. And I got a pet, which is Shift P. Now you see I have the pet. I also have other pets which are account wide. I'm guessing. So here we go, I got my pet, and that pet gives me a little boost to doing things. So let's just take the mission from the sheriff and go on. I got some nice boost through the first dungeon yesterday, Polaris, which obviously put me in advantage gear-wise, but I still have a long way to go before I actually have everything I need in terms of sorry, I'm bubbling, stats and abilities, because dungeons, while they do give quite a big chunk of experience on the first run, they don't actually reward it that much on the following runs. So gear is nice, but right now I'm slightly behind when it comes to actual abilities which are available to me. So I need to sort that out. Right, so we are going to the diner. You can see those pointers which show you where to run on missions, and some missions have those, some do not, but as long as they're available, it's really nice. Alright, so we'll just pick up everything we need. And move on. Alright, so here we go, moving on, moving on. Using melee weapons means that I can have easier time starting into fights, because I have full resources when I start. If I would be using ranged weapons or magic weapons, I would need to build resources first before I can use them. Obviously you can always use your cooldowns without resources, so that's nice. But otherwise melee weapons do help in this regard, but it's not always the best way to do things. And all of the weapons are powerful and have powerful attacks. There you see I have just impaired his cast, which means that instead of having to run out of the AoE, I can just continue doing damage to the mob. And this is something which you use more and more as you advance into endgame, where some casts will literally one-shot you and you don't want to let them go through. Alright, so we have now done this supply run. Picked up some mobs, so let's just dispose of them. They are disposed of. Alright, so let's carry on. And you can see lures, they're all over the place. I will not be picking up them since I don't really have time to read them on this run. If I feel so, I can do that later. But if you are just playing through the game for the first time, it is worthwhile to pick up the lures as well as watching the cutscenes. Cutscenes are great in this game and really worthwhile to see. Alright. So since I'm building not only resources but also counters, even though I have full resources when I engage, it is still more beneficial for me to do a couple of hits in order to get my stacks going right for momentum and elemental force, as those do increase my damage considerably even at these low levels, because I can just kill stuff faster. This is what I'm doing now without the elemental force, and yes, the damage output is fine. You don't necessarily need it because they have nerfed it, but it is extremely useful. Doing a dancing blade on the elemental force will benefit you greatly. Alright, so now we have picked up everything and need to go back to the sheriff's office. Yeah, here is another lore. As you can see, you can face full mobs and run away as long as you're managing to dodge their attacks, and especially if they're melee. You can do this kind of stuff, but just be sure that if you stop, you will have the train catching up to you, and that can be extremely dangerous. So on the way, you now will pick up the phone, or this side quest, which is a phone. So since we're running back, we can stop by the church and get the mission as well, which is useful. There are loads and loads of missions in Kingsmouth, which is the first area. The area is extremely well made and really worth to be here for a while.
Hollow Point disconnected from the server.
The quests continue giving the same amounts of experience, and the mobs also give the same amount of experience until they become trivial. So the mission told us that we need to look for numbers, and we're looking for the first number is 576. And also, if you're not into solving missions, you can easily look at solutions on the internet for pretty much all of them. But they are great fun to work out for yourself as much as possible. Alright, so something else on the interface. If you can see there, your inventory will have a small shortcut buff, so you can hotkey 5 of your inventory items. And that is extremely useful to be aware of, as you do want to have your heals, for example, locked there, or items which will buff you. Right now I don't have any buffing items, as they will come into play a bit later. Obviously someone can donate them to me and I can use them, but at this point they are not easily available to me in game, except for someone else giving it to me. Alright, so we have now completed our mission, and that allows us to do other missions. The next one will be a sabotage mission, which is the one which you need to go stealthy in. Right, so let's first check the item we got. It's a item which will give me somewhat more hit rating than the currently one equipped, but at the expense of a lot more penetration rating and attack rating, so I will not be replacing the item I have. And this one is with heal rating, which is nice, but without any stats, so none of this will be equipped at this time. So we'll just carry on with the stuff I have, and it's pretty much only about getting there as fast as possible. Alright, so checking phone book again. The phone book is right over there. Here we go. Alright. And now we have to go and pick up some cameras. I'll eat my milkshake now, which will run for 1 hour and give me bonus experience from killing mobs. Keep forgetting about that. And running. Sprint 1 is slow. It's better than no sprint, but still it's quite slow. Alright, so let's find that camera. There we go. And obviously, since I have done this before, it is somewhat easier for me, but
Sapirishia disconnected from the server.
I do not remember a lot of these missions, so if I remember them, it's luck. But as I said, they're all available for lookup on the internet, even though I would not advise you to just go looking up missions, because they are more fun to figure out by yourself. So while on ladders you will not be able to hit things, but on the bright side you will be going up. On the museum, but I'm in the wrong spot. Camera is down here, there we go. Yes, so we need a new camera from the basement. Right, so now we get introduced to solo instances. And solo instances are, as described, solo, which means that if you are in a group, you will be placed in different instances. Right. This is a sabotage mission. The idea here is actually to avoid being spotted. The lights here, they represent cameras, so you just need to avoid those lights. And some of them are static, others will be moving. So be careful when you're moving around, and pay attention to their movement. As long as you're staying out of the light, then you will not be spotted. There we go, we have now deactivated the cameras and can move on. Now we have some more lasers, and it's a laser maze, so just find your openings and get through them. If you get killed by the lasers, or rather if you trigger the lasers, you will instantly die. So it's that simple. Alright, now we have moving cameras, as you can see, so we need to be quicker on our feet and find spots where camera will not notice us. And I don't remember which way I need to be going, so let's just try to get behind the camera here, where it can't see us, as we probably need to get across. Right, maybe be too careful, but there we go. And disabling. Yay! Silent witness. I did not trigger any alarms or whatever it was called. Sweet. Now we need to kill this one. Whee! It's dead. And get the camera. Right, so this is the basic principles of a sabotage mission in TSW. The idea is to be sneaky, but since you don't have actual sneaking mechanics, so it's not a stealth game. The stealth is achieved by not triggering anything and avoiding being noticed. But without actually using any special moves. Exception being much later in game when you get to Tokyo, if you choose to purchase that issue, and you most certainly should if you enjoy TSW. Yes, much later there will be a sabotage mission called the bank heist, which will give you some more tools to manipulate the environment within that mission specifically. Alright, so right, pretty much every playfield will have a place like this where you have these guys in white, and these are representatives of Council of Venus. And Council of Venus is kind of like the not necessarily the police force, but a regulatory body of the secret world, and they regulate the relationship between the different factions. Uh, that is their kind of RP function, but they also sell stuff. So now they probably be selling stuff for bullions. Before they were selling stuff for different tokens, and that will allow uh, you to progress somewhat, because that's blue stuff. And if you don't have access to dungeons, you can, for example, buy blue weapons there in order to progress further into the game, which is obviously quite nice to be able to do. I would strongly advise not to get anything below QL6. In QL6 you will get in Blue Mountain. Um, So you can run to Blue Mountain even if you're still in Kingsmouth. It's not restricted by any ways, you just need to follow the road and get there. I forgot the stuff I need. Alright. And the reason why I advise this is because you can easily get through stuff in the green items. You don't really need anything else. So it's only weapon which you want to upgrade, and really you will be getting through QL 3, 4 and 5 quickly, while QL 6 is the top tier of Solomon Islands. And Solomon Islands are 3 playfields: Kingsmouth and Savage Coast and Blue Mountain. So once you have gone through the Solomon Islands, you will go to Egypt, and Egypt will allow you to progress further than QL6, obviously. So Egypt will have QL8 as top of the line for that area before you go on to Transylvania, which will introduce you to QL10 items. Or I might be mistaken, it might be QL9 for Egypt. So don't quote me on that, but alright. And again, there's nothing wrong with fighting everything on your way. I just prefer to get to the goals quicker by avoiding lots of fights. And this is more to do with the fact that I'm just used to being at endgame, where I don't particularly care about the extra XP from killing stuff. But it's also a time sink, because you have, in terms of gaining as much experience as possible, you have multiple avenues to do that. And now finishing missions is actually giving a lot of experience rewards. That's why I find it more useful to do that rather than staying back and fighting a lot of mobs. Even if though that can be a lot of fun. And even if they engage you, like now one is shooting me, I can still continue running, and it will obviously disengage me after a while. Now I'm gonna improve my blade now to 2, so that I can equip the blade I got from yesterday's Polaris run. I have some other stuff there as well which I can equip. Now let's see if any of this stuff is good. Wait, no thank you. It's still better than what I had equipped, so let's see what else. I'm missing belt, I have a lot of belts. Same belt, not everything. Alright, so here we go. Health block physical, really not something I need in any fashion or way. So let's see if any of those green ones might be better. Yeah, penetration rating. Alright, so and this one is hit rating and penetration rating. I'll take this one instead then. There we go. and only have 1 4. I have 2 heavy also this one. Let's see, this is... Yeah. Alright, so in terms of stats, again, just took some health so I don't die as easily. Because when you move from green talismans to blue and purple talismans, those talismans become pure in terms of attack rating, HP or heal rating. Which means that if you go all attack rating blue talismans, you will have just your base number of HPs. While if you go all attack rating green talismans, you will still have a healthy pool of HPs, so that you don't actually need to equip the HP talismans. Right. And I have also 8 points. So let's get some more stuff into our deck. Alright. So now I've gotten a defensive cooldown, AoE builder with a passive which afflicts, and a passive which will give me a small hot if I penetrate. Now the value of this hot is really small, so at this point of time it doesn't really give me enough bonus, at least as far as I see. So I'm not gonna be using it that much, and I will now be changing some stuff, but I will be taking Perfect Storm and Blade Torrent, and this is because Perfect Storm and Blade Torrent are synergizing quite well. Perfect Storm is an AoE builder, and Blade Torrent is an AoE builder, which is also a tanking builder, so this is a high hate one. And Perfect Storm will afflict, which will give more damage. And more damage is nice. To kill stuff faster at this stage in the game is nice. That is my preferred way to do things, rather than going too much defense. And changing around stuff to the way I would prefer to have it. Just give me a second. Something like this. However, martial discipline and regeneration can be quite useful at this stage. Right now my build consists of one single target builder, one AoE builder, and 2 AoE consumers and 2 single target consumers, which is, to be honest, not ideal, because you want to focus your builds more, but at this stage it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to be doing is, I'm just going to do this right now actually, I will be removing a single target builder. I will just keep Blade Torrent. I can build with the AoE builder and consume with single target or AoE builders, consumers, sorry, my brain is not functioning properly again. So instead of having to use 2 builders, which I personally just do not really enjoy, and Blade Torrent is a fine builder, especially with its passive, which will afflict. And I will then put on Martial Discipline with regeneration, and so that I have an oh shit button. Alright. Right, the downside of using obviously a builder which is not from hammer tree is that I will not be building momentum when I'm using my builder, which is not ideal, but it's really not that much of an issue at this time. As you can see, things die fairly fast, even though I'm not building with a hammer. If I need to go more precisely into single targets way of doing things, I will then be able to obviously change my builder to hammer builder, and again be sinking both momentum and level force to have more damage output.
Indy disconnected from the server.
And at this time the idea is simple. In order to progress, you just want to do as many missions as possible in as little time as possible. If you're leveling multiple tunes, or if you've been running King's Moth for a couple of days, you can repeat missions and you will find out a way to kind of have a more optimal setup of a more optimal setup of how you want to run around missions to maximize your performance. But it should be enough, just as long as you can do the missions which are kind of main, the missions which are the sabotage, the killing missions, and the investigation missions. They will give you a nice increase in experience, and increase obviously level you up. Because you can have one main mission and 3 side missions, and as long as the side missions are kind of along the way, then they are awesome to do in order to kind of improve how much experience you get. But if you have to then start running in different directions, then they might or might not be worth it. It's a thing of preference. If you're playing for the first time, take any mission you can get. All of them are great. You can find tidbits of information from any kind of mission, be that side mission or main mission, as long as you're bothered to read the text and kind of experience the stories themselves. Alright.
My passion for
As you get more items, then you will obviously have um, less item space. As you can see, your item space is shown here, and I'm at 46 out of 50 items. So I will be running out of inventory space shortly, which will force me to either delete stuff or do something else. So we'll see how we do this. It's not a big problem. You can expand your item space and get more of it by using packs. And obviously, since we're now be getting packs by bucket loads, hopefully, I will also be expanding the inventory in order to facilitate this, because I don't really have a lot of things to buy with packs at this stage of gameplay. As the items available to me around here, which are purchasable from vendors, are not that great and will unlikely present an upgrade to the tune compared to what is dropped or given from missions. So the items which you have which are not usable to you, you can do two things with them. You can vendor them, or actually three things. You can vendor them, you can delete them, or you can disassemble them into materials. And as usual, when I want zombies around, there are none. As you can see, you don't need to stop in order to cast, and that is an important feature in the Secret World. You really want to be moving as much as possible in combat, because that will allow you to stay alive, because you can body block the mobs if there are many of them, which is an important mechanic. And it also allows you to dodge the telegraphs, which is another important mechanic, because those telegraphs, unless you dodge them or you unless you dodge the telegraphs or impair them, they will sting to a degree where they will probably kill you. Right, so now I'm trying to find a piece of paper somewhere around the floor. And I remember this mission being annoying when I was first starting to play the game, and it seems that nothing has changed, unfortunately. So, if anything, I can always drop it later on and ignore it completely. Right, so napalm. It's probably the previous one. So right now I'm not grouping, and this is because at this stage in the game it's not strictly necessary. It's nice to group, it's easier, it's faster, it's more social. It definitely benefits you to kind of make friends and whatnot. But in terms of the actual need for it in Kingsmouth, that is extremely limited. And that is really unfortunate because it is fun to group. Uh, however, once you reach Savage Coast, grouping even for normal missions like I'm running now becomes much more not necessarily important, but it gives a lot more in terms of how fast you can complete the content. Right, so I need to find a abundant scooter. Let's see. There we have one. Boom. So I can take our head talismans. Now, theoretically I could have gone to the next area since I already had the QL3 weapons. However, I do not wish to do that because weapons alone will not get you far. You also need to have a deck. And a deck, as we discussed, is your active and passive abilities. And since I got quite low experience from running the dungeon, I really want to level up some more before I have a proper build which I can go into next area with ease and not having any issues. Alright, so need to place mines. Yay, survived. Right, so what you have seen here is that we had a small side mission there, which where we found a pamphlet, and now we have to go to different location. And this is one of the mechanics in TSW for how you progress through the game. So instead of having a one huge hub where everything is placed, you have multiple places, sometimes hub where you have more missions like the police station, or just one of you, and side missions or even main missions take you to those places so that you can more easily find them. That said, there are quite a few missions which are hidden quite well, and recent changes now place missions on the map so it's much easier for you to actually find them. Message from Sonic.
You seem to have produced an unqualified success. Hopefully one of many successes in our future, for the sake of all concerned.
It's nice that Sonic is proud of me. Right. I think I had some more missions in the camp there, but at the same time I probably want to move on to a different area where the missions are harder and give more experience.
It sure is good to see someone living.
It seems that we have quite a few new players around, which is awesome. But at the same time, it makes it kind of hard to complete missions. Since the bastards are dead before you get to them. Alright, so we're halfway there. One more, one more. There we go. So once the cops are here, then we'll have waves of zombies. There they come. They're obviously not meant to be hard, so do not be afraid. If you got a headpiece, which is slightly better, so we'll equip that one. Alright. So, as you can see at these early stages, this is quite easy, especially with the fact that I got the best gear you probably can get within this area yesterday, making it easier for me. In order to sell your stuff, if you don't want to break it down, you can go to the Ghidorah vendor, and you can also just mark there. Oh, not the Ghidorah, but Venus. I'm sorry. The Ghidorah vendors, you will see them around other places later in the game, where they sell stuff for black booleans. And this one will also sell stuff for black booleans and for packs.
Hollow Point joined the server.
Ambrosias, for example, they will give you 5 resources for any weapon you use it, but they have
Hollow
quite
Point
lengthy cooldown
disconnected from the server.
at this stage. You can buy some QL0 stuff for cheaps. And you can buy the blue stuff for booleans, which we already discussed. But like I said, don't spend it on the QL3 stuff or even QL5 stuff. Do wait until you get to QL6, then you can use booleans, because booleans is also endgame currency. You will be able to use booleans later to buy endgame gear. So right now I'm just getting rid of everything I have, which I do not want to use and will not use. To free up my inventory space, obviously will be then upgrading my inventory later on, but right now it doesn't particularly matter. Like disassembling into materials is viable, but I only have one kit for making a QL3 glyph, and that's not really a lot. I need to see if I can get a good piece which I can put it on, and that piece should be like this one HP piece that I can put or maybe like this one, because head is the one which give you the most stats. Weapons and the head, they give the most stats from your glyph. So the same glyph you put on weapon or headpiece will give you more stats than put on your major, and your major will give you more stat than put on your minor. So when you glyph, you first want to glyph your head, then your majors, then your minors. You obviously also want to glyph your weapons, but you need to make sure that you will be using the weapon with the right stat, because only the weapon you are currently using ability with is the one which is giving you stats. And that means that even though you have some nice stats on one weapon, as soon as you swap away from it and not using it anymore, you will not have the benefit of that stat. And that is especially important to remember when you have the builders and consumers from different weapons. And sometimes you want to have different stats on your weapons, sometimes you want to have same stats on your weapons, but it's just important to
Alice
remember
Orwell joined the server.
that
Alice Orwell switched channel to general chit chat on the server.
not all stats are there to help you at all times. Alright, so let's finish off this side mission and then probably move on to the next place. In order to finish the story mission here, we need to speak with all the survivors, which include visiting all of the areas anyways. And before I will move on though, I will go and visit Norma Krieg, which is a nice lady with a shotgun and a bonfire. And if you saw the cast yesterday, or the stream yesterday, then AWOL was visiting her already. There is also a nice place in church to do stuff, and you will have to visit the church as well. But all in good time. Alright. Right, so I need to read the medical report, and I don't see where it's put, which is unfortunate. Ooh, I have more stuff. Alright, we'll have to sort it out later. Just grab it here. Okay. And more stuff. Yeah, this is the unfortunate effect that I have copied over my setting from my main, because what it did is that it took the different things in the inventory and kind of spread around bags without any apparent meaning. So yeah, it's not in my inventory, so I have to pay attention. I have a marker on the map, so I need to go there and read it. Because often when you need to read something in this game, you will actually have an item in your inventory which you need to read. I should have enough points here now to get my head up. Now increased my skills to a point where I have enough skills to equip any QL3 item, which is obviously useful. Even if Norma Creek first, give me a second. So I have a Surging Blade. Surging Blade is mighty nice. Ability to dash, but not particularly needed now. It's more useful in actual fights where you need to place yourself better. So the Zergs, which you see around where you have many mobs at the same time, they are quite easy to kill even in multiples. But be careful, because pulling too many of them can be taxing. Right. So clean up my inventory some.
Samoth95 joined the server. Samoth95 switched channel to group 2 on the server. Drishina joined the server. Drishina switched channel to group 2 on the server.
So quite a lot of small missions right around the same place, which is a nice way to do things in order to level up, because then you pick them up, do them quickly, running around, and move on. But yeah, sprint 1, slow. Woohoo! There we go. Now to find a large open fire. Guess where that is? Alright. Now we got introduced to Norma Krieg. Use U, as you can see there, to pick stuff up. It doesn't always work, but often enough. and not just pick stuff up, but generally use. That's probably why it's U. Alright, cultists, that's probably one. Yep. Alright. Zombies from the sea. So Draug are not actually zombies, so we'll need to find different type of zombies to kill. Right, blood trail, where do you go? Blood trail. There we go, blood. Go inside, yes. Kind of hard to see, to be frank. There we go. Pain in the ass. Blood, blood. So as you can see, we have different.
I've been stranded out here for ages. Can you help me get back? Maybe this wasn't such a great idea after all. I am pretty freaked out.
Now what?
Why do they always go for me? There yet? It's definitely not a good day to die. I'm trying not to freak out, but I am pretty freaked out.
Yay! Another soul saved.
Well, hey!
Go. I will take fluid defense instead of exposed weakness because it's nice, but yeah. No, they can set up hammers for now. So not building with them. Alright. Let's go and see some dry zombies. This man you also need to see, so I'll be speaking to him.
Chewed up like Susie's clam chowder. I've been keeping a head count. Blessings to re-administer.
Right. Slow and dry zombies. These are the ones. The dearly departed. Okay. Alright. Let's find the sea zombies. So those will obviously be by the water. Surprise, surprise. Here's the one. Alright. Just progressing the main mission as well to a degree, as it gives really nice experience boost as you go through those missions. It's kind of hard to find mariners, to be honest. It's a bit of disappointment. Well, let's see if we find them in the end. Small as one. Oh, this is tiresome, trying to find those mariners. They don't appear to be respawning in that fast as well, so... There's one. Awesome! Alright, we have some more skills.
Now you are a sight for sore eyes.
The Lady Margaret was a traumatic experience for everyone on board. They were changed men when they came back. I visited with all of them in the days following their return.
Alright. So here we need to decipher password. You'll find quite a few missions like that. And again, you can just look it up on the internet, or you can try to decipher it. As you can see, there's a photo behind, right besides, which gives you a hint. There you go. Music of the seasons.
Krishna
And
disconnected
favorite
from the server.
composer is probably
Samoth
Vivaldi.
95 disconnected from the server.
Now, at this stage, when you kind of figured out what you like to play with, if you've played around with different weapons, I would strongly suggest that you go to a website like tswdb.com and you have a good look at endgame builds in the category which is interesting to you, so that you can then spend your ability points in a way which allow you to have your endgame build. And so it's just going to be the first build, one of many builds, but so that you have a viable build by the time you reach endgame. So if you focus on that, then you will be able to enter the endgame of TSW, which is nightmares and elite raids, with a with a way to actually perform well without feeling that you are gimped and that everything sucks and whatnot, because it is a big change. It is a big change from doing kind of normal stuff like we are doing now, running around, killing mobs and doing missions, to running the endgame content. Endgame content in TSW is not super hard by any means, but it does require you to actually have a build which is well balanced and well performing, while what we are doing now allows us pretty much to just do anything we like without any real need to have a thought about what we are doing. So right now we need to run around and kill stuff. Obviously, if I had just gotten a group, this would have been significantly faster. But as you have also seen, there's no real challenge so far in completing those missions and killing these mobs. So really there's little to no need at this stage. Again, I will be grouping as much as possible during my run-throughs compared to AWOL. But that's primarily gonna happen when I'm in the next area. Because that's when it's gonna become actually harder. Alright, so that was 2 and 3. Yay. Another headpiece. A quite nice headpiece compared to a head, even though the stats are not that great. Because again, when leveling you just want 2 stats, unless you want to go defensive, and don't get me wrong, it's viable to have a defensive build or even a half healing build. But I just personally prefer to rather focus on more damage, so I can kill them faster, and for more damage you need hit rating and penetration rating. Those 2 stats will prevent glances, evades and blocks, and those 3 events when you're fighting are the ones which kill you DPS the most. All of this followed by then increasing your chances to actually penetrate and get 40% more damage in. As well as crit, because as long as you're glancing you will not be critting, and getting an actual crit, even if rare, would be nice. And with elemental force you will be critting somewhat more on a regular basis. Right, so now I have to locate some people who have gone missing. When it says locate people, that means that you actually have to target them, not just killing them, because they are now zombies. There we go. Located. Alrighty. So I'll be finishing off this session shortly. And by the looks of it, probably just focus on finishing the main quest in Kingsmouth now, and move on to move on to Savage Coast in the next session. As I move to Savage Coast, it will give me access to QL5 things, and primarily I'm just gonna be focusing on upping up my skills so I can equip the weapons. Hey, look at that, I'm at 50 items. This is kind of unfortunate. But let's just increase our inventory size. There we go. It's fairly cheap to begin with. So let's just do it a few times. But it will get progressively more expensive as you go along. There we go. Just double the inventory size. Alright, so we have a brief introduction here to Morning Light, and Morning Light will be central to the events in the Secret World. As in, like, the whole story arc ranging from these humble beginnings, which just looks like a gypsy camp, and to later in game where it becomes much more major part of the story if you follow it. Alright, so that was me not paying attention. Thankfully that was not deadly. Usually traps are one-shot kills. Alright. Alright, so this is gonna be concluding our session for today very shortly. I was probably just gonna finish this side mission where I have to run around. This side mission gets where you have to kill these supposedly hard mobs.
Alice Orwell disconnected from the server.
It's a nice way to get to run around the Kingsmouth area, but otherwise it's quite annoying because you have to cover such a large area, and if you're trying to squeeze in a lot of other missions into it, it just kind of just gets in the way, to be honest. Yeah, let's see. So now we've been to the Morning Light camp. we have quite a few missions which you can complete there, and great stories. And there's also another area of the map which you haven't visited yet, which is the airport, and that's the area where will be basically taken next time we play, because that's where the main mission takes us. Obviously, if there are anima wells which you have discovered, which are close by to the place you're going, then by all means use the anima jump.
Triac join the server.
It is extremely useful ability. Previously we could select which well we wanted to resurrect in upon death.
Triac switched channel to group 4 on the server.
I will have to disable that when I'm streaming, because that's really annoying when people log on off. But anyways, previously we would reset, aka kill the character, and just respawn at the well we wanted to go to. Which is annoying, and if you forget to unequip your stuff, it can also become expensive. Alright. A whole 14 points. So if we look back at the tree, now we're leveling in blades and hammers, and that's because currently we have the highest quick cutter DPS build is hammer blade for nightmares, and hammer and blade are also awesome weapons for tanking. Since I want to go into tanking, then what I will need to get is agitator ability from this tree. So if you're going to be tanking, you will need to get provoke and agitator from this tree. And if you're going to be trying to tank Polaris normal, you might get away by using high hate builders such as Blade Torrent. Otherwise you will need to invest your points to get agitator. But I will take it a bit later. Right now I'm just gonna focus on getting my inner wheel abilities done. And hopefully I will be able to finish off these abilities in from hammer and blades, which I need long before I'm near the gatekeeper, so I can level up other weapons which can be of great use, such as shotgun. Shotgun is a great weapon for tanking, although it's underused. Alright, and now I have Brawler, which is a crit power passive, and it's great when you pair it with Dancing Blade. While Cool Count collect is one of the most used tanking passives. It's the same as Fluid Defense in its functionality, but instead of being procced by things glancing you, it procs by things blocking you. And as a tank in TSW, at least when you do your initial nightmare dungeons, block is the only stat which you will be focusing on. That's why Cool Common Collective is extremely useful tanking passive. Alright, so I think I'm gonna conclude the stream with this for today, so thanks for watching